Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. And welcome, everybody, to another week worth of my independence reports. My name is Kevin McDonald, and it's Monday, the 22nd of March, 2021. Holy mackerel, 2021. Never thought that I'd see the day. And we've got a wonderful author here, and I got to tell you, her when she first emailed me, her email was, "I'm maybe the most positive person you've ever met." I said, "Okay, well, I'm pretty positive myself, so we're going to have to check this out and see what we got here." And what I found was we have an extraordinary human being she is an author. She is a counselor. She helps people in all manners of their walk and tries to help people understand a little bit more about it. And well, we're going to actually, I should probably ask her that since it's her program and stuff. So Joy Resor, is that right?
That's good.
Yeah. How do you? If I mispronounce, I'm famous for mispronouncing last names. So, what's your last name?
That's close. That was my married name. I'm divorced, and I kept it because I didn't ever feel comfortable with my maiden name.
Okay.
Which, so I say Resor is how
Resor?
I say this name. Yes.
Very good. So Joy Resor is with us now that we've got that settled. Probably should have done that before we went live, but that's all right. This is a live broadcast, and we're on YouTube and Facebook, and it's going to be also available on My Independence Report, the podcast. So I'm looking forward to a wonderful hour, or how long it takes us to get to talk about what we're going to talk about. The first question I have to ask you, because it's right there on your website, is you had a wonderful interview with Jack Canfield, who wrote Seed of the Soul, not Seed of the Soul, Songs for the Soul, Chicken Soup for the Soul. That's it. That's what it is. And so when did you meet Jack?
That was in March of 2019, 2 years ago. It's because I saw on Facebook the opportunity that you could go to Jack's house for a 2-day mastermind, and my soul wanted that experience. I have healed into a person comfortable in my own skin after decades of not being this version of who I am. So if you have the money in your pocket, you can apply and go to that program. It's not inexpensive.
Was it worth your time?
It was. I felt lovely being there, learning from Jack and everyone else in the room. It was really beautiful. It was when my the first volume of Design to Shine had come out, and I gave everyone a copy of it. Yeah. Oh,
really cool. So what got you interested in being an author and writing, and you do poetry, and well, let's talk about your writing. What exactly led you to it, and what's your motivation?
Thank you. Well, Kevin, I would say that my first language was writing, because I don't know when everyone else's throat chakra opens or if it's always open, but my throat chakra opened when I was 53. So all those years I was writing in journals. And also that was a function of the dysfunction in my family, the dad issues, the mother issues. So I would go into my room and write. And I would write poetry, mail poetry to my pen pal in Vietnam, and different things. Sit on a rock outside in the sun, believe that my life would get better and write poems. And the how I became an author is because I wrote a prayer in my journals every day for a really long time to become the joy I am created to be. Something in me knew that I didn't want to be a person named Joy with a bag of wounds on my back from childhood. And I didn't know who I would be, and lo and behold, divinity or God, source, however you call this energy, led me to classes and books and healers to help me clear everything that wasn't supposed to be in me. And divinity woke me up in 2014 and said, Joy, use the lessons of your life to inspire readers and call it an alphabetical adventure. So that became my first book came out in 2015 with relatable essays, questions, and poetry, because poems on my healing journey, I couldn't go to a therapist. I simply cried when they said the word father, and I had to leave the room. So I healed more slowly, and I went to poetry therapy workshops. And I wrote a lot of poems. I sent them out for publication. So when I was writing this book of essays, poems I had written in my past jumped into my consciousness and said, I support this essay. So a person reading this book would go along, they're reading an essay. Here's the essay on creating every day. And then there's a poem, Amuse Me. It was a fun poem to write. There are a few poems on after the creating everyday essay. And lo and behold, the other books, I didn't try to write them.
That's amazing.
I think I'm so close to, I'm a highly creative person, an astrologer told me, and that I'm so close to everything else because we are one, and I receive books, and it's a beautifully effortless, fun way to write a book. I recommend it.
I can just imagine, because look, things that struck me. First of all, the older I get, the more families' histories that I've become aware of. I have learned that we all go through troubles in our lives, and can be much more significant troubles for some than others. But we all come from a dysfunctional family because that's what we do. Because their life experience at that age is such that they don't know a lot better, and then they think about what their parents did and what their grandparents did. So it becomes a never-ending battle for us. When was it that you decided that your upbringing was not only not acceptable, but it was causing damage to you and you needed to fix it?
I think it was when I was in my 20s. I worked at a bank, and there were some colleagues from other businesses that we would spend some time with. And this one man said to me, Joy, you've got a bag on your back of wounds. I think that whatever I was expressing in my 20s, he gave me that feedback. And I remember going to the employee assistance person at the bank. I had these troubles. I was going to be married, and my parents, and there was this stuff happening. So, yeah, I think I became aware in my 20s, and I think it was in my 30s. I haven't looked back. I have bins of journals. I journaled every day. I have journaled every day for decades. I still do. And I think that I wrote that prayer to become the joy I am created to be. I think it was many, many, many months, days and months in my 30s. Excuse me.
No, so that gentleman, do you still are you in contact with that gentleman who said that you had um stuff on your back?
No, I haven't. I can't even. I don't know his name. No, that was. I'm turning 64. I'm a young, older person.
Oh, come on,
I
64 is not old. When do you turn 64?
In July.
Ah, see, you're older than I am. You're much. I'm turning 64 in September, so you are much older than me. Uh, but so that gentleman in your 20s was a bit of an angel, don't you think?
Yeah, I think, we are all angels to one another. Do you, that the way we touch one another, what we say to one another, what we give to one another. And I will tell you, Kevin, as I grew up as a child, I would hold on to something every morning. And I didn't remember that until I was in my 30s. It was, what was I was holding, and what it was, I would write something that would add to the peace in the world. And then for decades, I egoically worried about it. Like, did I write it yet? Did I write something? And I'm over it. I've written about it. I've written about it. I've written about it.
But you have got reams of material to continue to write.
Oh, I do. I have content. I have a lot of content I can mine. And these days, I'm finishing up. I was in a beta class that's been really great. It's called The Art of Mindful Storytelling. And it made me understand how to write an impactful post, for example, on Facebook or wherever, that could be relatable to other people. So I've written a newsletter for years. I have articles on my website. I have bins of journals. The content, and I have all these books I've written. So I have a lot of content yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if somebody would like to go while we're doing this interview and would like to go to your website and kind of kick a few tires and look it around a little bit, how do they get there?
It's joyonyourshoulders.com.
Joyonyourshoulders with an S.com.
Right?
That's really cool.
Thank you. It came to me from divinity. It is JOYS, joys. And this idea of beautiful fabric around the neck, positive words into the world, it came to me years before I birthed it. I needed to grow more to have the confidence to birth this thing that I would be wearing. And the day I decided I'm doing it, I opened my local paper that comes out twice a week in Brevard, North Carolina. And there is Joy's Specialty Sewing Service. I dropped the paper. I have goosebumps telling the story because I felt like I am so supported by the universe. To give me a seamstress named Joy, who made the first generation of these. And I'm, yeah, joy on your shoulders.
So,
So people tell me
oh, go ahead.
visiting that site makes people happy. It's
It's a
it's a
beautiful
joyful.
site. It's a
Thank
beautiful
you.
site. And in addition to that, you also have got clothing, which you're talking about. Is that Joy that you found in the paper? Are you still working with her?
No, that dear soul stopped sewing for me a number of years ago, and then she relocated to Florida. Um,
Oh, we all
so
got to
different.
retire at one point.
Yeah, yeah. I've been. I mean, I've been a poster child for a number of things. One was I was so rigid, so controlling, so perfectionistic, and I'm not any of those things anymore. I'm allowing. I am a recovering perfectionist. But so when she left me, I had healed enough, a little beyond perfection, so that when another seamstress came to me and said, with a bag, and said, she's holding a bag, what do I do with all these little pieces of fabric? I didn't skip a beat and came out from me, let's make little things. Because we already had the ones you could wear, or you could drape these or hang them up. But then came the little things you might have seen on my site, Kevin. We've got bags. Oh, wrong way. Has a piece of cardboard because it was standing up. But people put cell phones, prayer beads, coins, jewelry, a lot of things in these bags. And the title came to me because I'm SACS, Simply Adorable Catch-All Sacks, because I think they are so cute. Excuse me. And then came Portable Joy. For example, it has Velcro on it, and people put them on purses, backpacks, wine bottles. They put them everywhere. Cribs. I've had people put them on lawnmowers. I mean, they put them anywhere.
Wow, that's good.
What?
I said that's good. They can put them on their lawnmower because they can rejoice on mowing the lawn, which is always one of my favorite activities.
Yes. Yeah. Walkers. And when I was before COVID, I was at spiritual conventions, and I would give them to people that had a walker and say, may I put this on your walker? So, excuse me.
So what decided you, because there was a point in time that you decided that you wanted to make an impact in the world in a very special way. And that by doing your writing, by going to the spiritual seminars, by working with Jack Canfield, by doing what you're doing, you spent your life learning about how to live your life more authentically and more real. How do you take that and help other people who come and work with you? How do you help them get through some of the, well, a lot of the guck that's out there that we all have to live with? How do you help them through it?
Thank you, Kevin. Well, people who are called to work with me, and we have a discovery call to see if there's a fit, but I have a lot of, I'm connected to everything. And everybody is, but they may not know it, but we are. I was the poster child of separation for decades, but I am now connected. But I receive questions, I receive wisdom to ask people, and I always have this other way of seeing things. For instance, when I was a child and friends would say, Joy, choose a side. Are you with Rita? Are you with Susie? And I could stand there and say, I'm not choosing. Rita has her perception. She's coming from what she understands. Susie has her perception. She believes in what she believes in, and I can't say that one of those is right or wrong. So I really came in with, on the Enneagram scale, if you know about the Enneagram, Kevin, I'm a peacemaker. And I've had this woman Mother Gaia talks through her and has written books through this beautiful soul called Mare Cromwell. You need to look up Mare Cromwell. She's amazing. And Mare said, I have a fairy soul. And I wouldn't be surprised because I love beauty so much. I love gentleness, kindness, harmony, love, peace. You put ugliness in front of me or hostility or rudeness, and I just don't want to be in the same space.
How did you get to be this way? Because if you were, for a long time, I lived with someone who I would call a perfectionist. That would be my mother. And so she still is, because it's not an easy thing to do if you're a perfectionist, to suddenly to flip it and say, oh, I'm okay with having the house not being perfect, not having, having the car not being, so where did you flip this? And was there a cataclysmic event, or was it just you had an inner knowing deep down?
Thank you, Kevin. It was all of it. It was a journey and a half. And there was a flipping that happened when I moved 3 times in 18 months. And when I was putting away my underwear for the 3rd time, that is when I realized, oh my gosh, I can move, I can change, I can relocate, I can not own a house. Renting is very cool to do. I'm renting. And that was an epiphany that I will always remember. Because I had been so rigidified by my family. Like if it makes me laugh now. But the day that my father yelled at me, okay, my maiden name is Baumblatt, Baumblatt. Bless the Baumblats. I love my relatives. I love my ancestors, but it didn't feel like joy. Baumblatt didn't work for me. The day my dad said, when he was looking at my report card, Baumblatts don't get C's. I had gotten a C in geometry, and up from inside me comes, I guess I'm not a Baumblatt.
Oh, that went over well, I'll bet.
Oh, that went over real well. But the thing is, that family was all about the intellect. Nothing else mattered. And I think I came in as a heart-centered being from some other planet who wanted to bring a lot of goodness. Bring a lot of goodness. The other thing I know about perfection is it was layers of letting go of things. When I first birthed the first generation of these, they were hanging, and Joy sewed 12 of them. They were hanging in my bedroom, and I happened to be having lunch at a cafe outside, and comes along a man I knew. And I said, hey, Don, can I ask you a question? Because I knew he was such a creator. And I was having angst of letting them go into the world. The losing control, having, what if Walmart sees it and they want to have it, or, all the weird thoughts that we have. And Don said, can I come to your house and see these? And I said, yes, please. And he followed me home, and I already had a very good comfort level with him. And he said just what I needed to understand about these creations needing to go where they go. And he said the just right thing that I needed. So I think that perfectionism, that now that I could say I'm a recovering perfectionist, is I don't wig out when things are out of order. I don't line up everything exactly. I mean, I probably had some OCD, something. Sure. I'm sure I did. I remember, not being able to step on a crack and break my mother's back and that whole thing. I was very, yeah, but I think what you said before about all of our dysfunctional upbringings, have you heard the part about how we as souls, like we're up there without bodies, and we say, okay, now I want to go back. and we meet with some guides, and they say, okay, now what you are going to do, you need to have your joy squashed. And we're going to give you this family. And this time your dad's going to be a rageaholic, screaming maniac, unhealed, who is such a good doctor, but will rail against chiropractic. And so when you get in a car accident in 1995, you will hold the accident in your body for 9 years, because the thought of chiropractic was nowhere in me until it was. And I'm like, I need that. And I had to cross that bridge of understanding, because it was such a deep belief. I say I've crossed many bridges of understanding to become this version of me that loves life. I mean, I wasn't in my body when the car accident happened. I was living up here. I am now grounded in my body. And that's all. I feel, Kevin, that being a human, I don't know if anyone's ever said this, I feel like to become a lovely human who loves ourselves, who feels good in our frame, is a journey. Or maybe I could say can be quite a journey, because I feel like I've had quite a journey to become this version of myself.
Well, that really is the nature of it, is that when you were on the other side, and by the way, there's going to be a podcast this afternoon at 4:00 Pacific, which is going to include, I'm really excited about this one as well. It's going to include somebody from the Newton Institute, who Michael Newton wrote the book Life Between Lives, and Journey of Souls and Destiny of Souls. And it's about us as we are at home and what we do at home. And one of the things, you're exactly right, is at one point in time we say, oh, all right, I'll go back. and then you get the guidance as to, okay, well, you didn't do this so well, and you did this really well, but then you got knocked off your game. So what we're going to do is let's set this scenario up. Your friends and family work with you, and the friends and family that are on the other side with you, your soul group, works with you to come up with a plan that you're going to come down here to execute so that you can reach the next stage of your ev- evolvement and learning how to become more and to experience more. And your dad, as I hate to say this because some people think I'm nuts, but your dad played the role, and apparently he played it flawlessly, but he was on the other side, and he agreed to play that for you because it was something that you needed.
Yes, you give me goosebumps because when we see life from that perspective, which took me a long time to see it from that place, um, I like, wow, how cool is that? That that really and the fact that I was a child who remembered in my 30s, like I pulled something down every night that I came here, that I would write something that would add to the peace in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I have. Um, may I read a rhyme on peace?
Of course, please do.
This book, and you might understand who's in my soul group who I know who I know helped me write this book. Peace. Oh, here's the illustration.
Who illustrated it, by the way?
A lovely young woman named Lauren Connell
Cool.
of Silver Camp Studios is her.
Awesome. So that's great that she helped you out with that.
Peace. Peace in your heart, your soul, and your mind. Peace in your family while waiting to dine. Breathe into peace as you sit near a tree. Speak round a fire, your voice, oh so free. Peace to all beings because we all matter. Bluebirds and black bats, reindeer who clatter. Sink into peace as a seed that you sow. With peace in your heart, kindness always will flow.
That's very, very good. That's very good. When did you write that?
Thank you. This book came to me in 2017. I wrote 7 of the rhymes, and then I felt like, what am I? I'm writing a children's book in rhyme that will speak to the inner child of adults.
Cool. That's nice.
This is change. I mean, may I read you this one?
Of course.
Change. We all feel it. It's how the world rocks. Tight tulips that open, clock hands which tick tock. A seal on the corner who likes your green hat, the one who is waving before sliding, curse splat. Change is forever. It's how the world turns. You fliggle or wiggle in flow as you learn. Sulking and screaming don't change a bit, but breathing through change lets smiles gently fit.
You are very talented. That's very, very good. And
Thank
these are like I'll just have to tell you because she's becoming really an important part of what we're trying to do, and that is her name is Fia. She's a singer songwriter out of Sweden, and her process is very similar to yours in that she sits down and is quiet, and then music and lyrics come to her, and then she writes them down, And it's the same way that you are with your poetry. You sit and you listen, and then you write it down, and there it is, and it's voila. And then you go, "How did I write that?"
Exactly. It feels like I am really connected. I felt very Dr. Susie, like Ted Geisel's energy. Some of these and the made up words that were coming to me that I have in these books. And there's a rhyme pattern, I think. It felt, I really feel, and I heard that he's in my soul group. So I think Ted Geisel and I wrote these books. Yeah.
Very possible. Very possible. We don't know. On the other side, we assume that they don't care about us necessarily. A lot of people assume that, which is actually the exact opposite is true. Um,
They love us.
well, they are supportive of us because see, from my standpoint, they're going, boy, I don't know how he does it. That's pretty tough down there, and I don't want to do that. That's too hard. But I'll support him. But it's Earth is a tough place to be when you're growing up and you've got people that are not nice to you, and you've got somebody that is chemically dependent upon something that causes them to not be the person that they could be. And then so there's an evolution to the same thing happened to me. There's an evolution to my life, and there's an evolution to your life that is become really quite extraordinary. And the beautiful thing is joy is everybody can have joy. Not joy you have joy, but everybody can have love in their heart, and they can have joy, and they can have something very positive if only they'll let it. And if you can't do it by yourself, then you need to go contact Joy because she can help you through it.
That is true. Thank you. Joy, I write about it in this book. It is natural, normal.
Read that one.
Joy, a feeling so high, so bold, and so deep. It's natural, normal, your birthright to keep. Meet essence of joy on a walk in the creek, then stepping on grass in tender bare feet. Greet joy by yourself or with badgers nearby, with monkeys on treetops, geese streaming through sky. Add hula in sunbeams, do not hesitate. Share it, embrace it, to joy celebrate.
Well done again. And you're right. That could be a children's book, but it actually is designed more for adults a little bit, I think.
Yeah, that's why I understood that when it was coming through me that it would speak to children, but also to those reading it to children who have unhealed inner children. So that's why it's called Read Aloud Rhymes for Any Size Heart.
Very well done. Now, did they encourage you to do that? Did they tell you to do that with the title and how the book was going to formulate, or did it just magically appear?
That was just who knows? This connection that I'm so creative, and if we're so creative, we're so connected to the creator, right? So I felt like I would see pictures of people reading this book, and they had put down their devices, they were holding their children, and then they were having conversations about the rhymes. They weren't simply zipping through 26 rhymes, because all my books are alphabetical from my German background. I like the structure of alphabetical books. But yeah, take your time, read one, talk about it with your kid. Like, Yeah. Do what my parents did not do. Did not do.
Right, and I was going to ask you about them because you've been, if you've been with Jack Canfield, I haven't met him personally, but we've been traveling in the same spheres forever, for the last 20 years or so. He was in the same group that I was in and stuff, and so I've heard him speak a number of times. I have all of the Chicken Soup for the Soul songs, and I used a lot of them in the radio show that I did in the past. And so you've been around this process for a while. You understand now. First of all, is your dad still with us, or is he passed?
My parents are both beyond
Now, have you
form.
gone? Have you gone in search of, with psychic and or mediums or people to talk to you, and have you and your dad reconciled?
Actually, thank you. I did a lot of work while my family was still alive, a lot of healing. I was led to energy healers and, gosh, chiropractors, Reiki, Rolfing. I've done.
Yeah, you've done it all.
I've done a lot because in my perfectionism, what about the fear I was in? I was in fear of everything. I was tight and scared, and now I am not. Yeah, I am trusting and allowing and
Now, have you reached the conclusion or the thought processes surrounding your dad?
what do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
As far as
oh,
after let me tell you my thoughts, and then we'll go from there. See, after he passed, and you recognized that what he had done and was not appropriate and was not in your best interest and stuff, and he learned. See, he probably, don't know for a fact, but he probably spent a great deal of time working through the issues that he left here with, to purge himself of the negativity and the fear and those sorts of things, and one of which was his relationship with you, which if you were to talk to him today, he would be very apologetic about his life with you.
thank you. I appreciate you naming that, because I would be happy to have some conversations with him. I know that I have, but I could have more, and or write him a letter. But while my parents were alive, I was given such a gift of an energy healing that I didn't know that's what it was when I went to meet with this woman in Ohio back in the day. But I ended up I was lying on a treatment table, and energy was streaming out of my fingers for a really long time. And it was after the practitioner had put a pink quartz crystal on my belly, and she had invoked beings. And I saw in my mind's eye myself as a sad, wounded child, and my parents unable to give me what I needed. Then I saw my parents in that position, and they didn't get what they needed. And I saw the entire lineage that no one was a nurtured child that got what they needed. And then my heart, grew like the Grinch's, and I had this compassion. And then all this, what I felt was like negative stored energy in my body, the body of me, came out that day. Then when I needed to be with my parents, I didn't get a stomach ache anymore. And I could just sit and breathe and allow them to be who they were. I was way more allowing of them to be their strange selves that they were. I loved them more at that point. Yes.
Well, I can tell you for a fact, I know this for a fact, that your dad and your mom are very proud of the person that you've become.
Thank you.
And they, I really believe that it was all part of the magical plan to put you where you are so that you are in a position to help people. That's what you do. And with the poetry that you do, with the books that you've written, and also the counseling that you do. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, can they go? Is it best to go through the website?
Yes, that's a good way. There's a contact page there. They also could reach out to me through my Facebook, joyonyourshoulders.com, my business page.
Good. Well, and it's such a pleasure having you here. I've enjoyed it greatly. You're a wonderful person.
Thank you. And did I tell you I was a very positive person?
Yes, you did, and you are, and so that's really cool because you can move forward to the next level of positivity, whatever that is, and to accomplish even more things than you've accomplished to date.
Yes, and I have a thank you. I will. I have a through synchronicity. I have an amazing man in my life who's a publicist. And he's hooking me up with some different things coming up, and they're exciting. And through my own way I see people on podcasts, and I write to the podcasters and I say, perhaps I'm a match for your thing.
So is that how you got in touch with me?
The one with you, Kevin, was because I am a member of the Nonfiction Authors Association, and we receive a media thing every Friday that lists different people looking for different things. That's how I found you. And otherwise, I've had amazing things contacting podcasters and saying, I'm pretty sure I would be a match for your show. And then the follow-up goes back and forth, and they say, oh my gosh, you are so joyful. And my word of the month is joy, and you're going to be on my show. And I'm like, thank you very much. So a lot of people want joy. And, years ago, before this book came into the world, people would say, what do you do? And I'd say, well, I'm writing a book to inspire joy. And every single person said, the world needs you. I'm like, okay. Like, I'm pretty sure I came here to be named Joy, to have my joy squashed, to find my way back to who I really am, to bring something lovely. And I'm having a really great time being who I really am. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here today, Kevin.
Well, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here today because it's, we're all on a walk through life, and some of us are a little bit more easily swayed into doing something positive than others. And some folks they just can't get out of their own way. And it's sad. It's really sad to watch that. And that's why I'm glad people like you are out there in the world that can help somebody. And all you got to do is have the intestinal fortitude to write her a little email and to say, I really would like I don't know what it is that you got, but I want some of it because it's nice. Because it's awfully nice when you can smile and when you're okay, when the things. And if you came from you don't sound like somebody that came at all from the place of everything has to be perfect or I'm going to throw a tantrum. You came from a place where everything had to be perfect. And you know what you discovered? Everything already is perfect.
Yeah. I mean, the things I've gotten over and through and around, and the things, and I took as long as, and it took, and what I had to forgive myself for was as long, it took the time it took. I learned how slowly and how fast I learned, but it was a perfection. And I really feel that all our lives are divinely perfect.
Yep.
And this, has been divinely perfect. And the fact that my husband divorced me, we have 2 amazing sons, and then a lot of people date before in high school or after high school or in college, and I did it after my divorce. I That's when I attracted this guy and this guy and this guy. I had to kiss some toads before I found the prince, and I am living with a prince, and I am unbelievably supported, loved, and I never knew that I could be this supported and loved, that's really lovely.
It's not only lovely, it is in my frame of reference, it is partially your reward for being true to who you are. And
Yeah.
go go ahead.
It was a poem in this book that led this man to me.
Now, isn't that a surprise?
Oh my gosh.
Because
Do you want to?
Yeah, we could. If you want to read that, we can. Because see, nobody. That's just a coincidence, and just so people know, I'm just being facetious. There's no such thing as coincidences.
And I opened right to the page. If you want to close your eyes, you can. It's called Of Dreams. Rain drenches a yard. Rivers run banks, chasing lives to higher ground. And you do a rain dance in your mind. Gaze upon cracked mounds of earth. Dream of water sprites. Some dreams before yours and mine died in silence. Some spent time behind bars. Some took flight. Awake or sleeping, we choose a path. Wake up, my friend. Come dream with me.
And so he said, I got to meet that girl.
He already knew me.
Oh, okay.
We went to the same Unity Center. I grew up in a Jewish household. I became Christian, and I am now a unitic-ish person. I believe in the oneness of everybody beyond the separation of religion. And that man and I would share presents all the time in the lobby every Sunday. Hello, Michael. Hello, Joy. And we shared presents. But after he read this book and led a book study with this book, months later, he wrote me a card. It came up in conversation yesterday, how he has he could be a writer, but he doesn't believe in his abilities. And he sat down and wrote that card to me, but it was pouring his heart out to me. And it pierced my heart, because when you speak from your heart, you're touching another heart.
True.
He is probably a soulmate, because the goodness of what this is with us. Yeah, I
Well,
feel. Yeah.
I was just going to say the cool thing is, see, in the olden days, a 60-something-year-old is considered on the decline and closing out the chapter of their lives, and most of the exciting stuff is already come and is already gone. And I am so glad that you are not following that recipe for disaster. You're going to be, and your companion are going to be close and together for a very long time. And the longer that you're here, the more light that you'll cast, and the bigger area that you will have an impact in. And by the way, tell him that I'd love to interview him, but he has to write a book first.
Okay. I'll tell him that, and
He'll say,
we'll
"Who the
see
hell
what
is
he
that
says.
guy? Shut up."
He might have this much interest in being interviewed. We'll see.
No, don't worry about it. We're good.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for this conversation. It's been really great chatting with you.
It's been great fun. So what I like to do at the end is to give you the opportunity to drag your soapbox over here and to stand on your soapbox and tell our audience anything that you would like them to say and like them to know.
I want you to know that if you're not loving, well, what I'd like you to do is love yourself more today than you did yesterday. And then tomorrow, do it a little more every day. Love yourself. And if you loved yourself more, would you make a different decision? Would you stop doing all of this for all these other people and pay attention to your own self and maybe your health or maybe your creativity? Maybe, who knows? I don't know what that is. But I know that if you just take 5 minutes a day and write on a paper what is important to you, if you could write on the paper, if I loved myself this much, I would do this. And you would start to see how you could love yourself more and maybe make a shift in your life. Maybe heal one thing in your life, because that is how it starts. That is what I did. I healed one thing at a time. And lo and behold, I mean, all those years ago, there was something in me, like the mother issue, the sister issue, the father issue. Like I always knew I've got to heal this car accident that's in my body. I've got to heal this thing, but I don't have it anymore. I don't have a thing I will probably be forever healing, but there's not a thing that I know about in me.
Well, that's the beautiful thing, is that you can continue to heal yourself, work with people who can help you heal, and it can become a self-fulfilling prophecy, because that's what we really are all about. And the cool thing is, while you're in the process of healing yourself, you can help other people. And that's what's really cool. We've been talking with Joy Resor, and she is author and a poet, and she's got a couple of books out. She's got a website. You can go work with her and do all of that all by yourself. So go to her website, which again is
joyonyourshoulders.com.
or you can go to her Facebook page and Joy on Your Shoulders there too, right?
Right.
We're just,
and I'm on LinkedIn. I pop in and out of Instagram, but Joy Resor, yeah, I'm around. You could find me.
Oh, that would be awesome if you need someone to help you get through some of this stuff. And it's not a matter of if you seek help, it's not that you're weak. It's that some of us have been involved in, excuse the expression, the shit and of all the stuff that we've been going through for so long, that it's hard to understand and hard to get through it. You've got a smile on your face that didn't used to be there, I'm willing to bet, and is there now.
Yeah. Thank you.
So that is awesome. By the way, Joy Resor has been our guest, and go to her website and go buy her books. They sound like I would, if my kids were younger and I was still reading to them, they won't even read to themselves now. But if they could read to them, those are great lessons. Those are great books.
Yeah. So. Thank you. I've been told that the rhymes are not sappy. They are wise and delightful. So
there you go. Joy, thank you so much. Why don't you hang right there for a moment? I wanted to say something before we go, but I've got to do this ending and then I'll be right back. Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other because each other's all we got. See you next time on My Independence Report.